I treated Rajesh like my own son, and had very good experiences with him. And I learned whatever I know about crypto, I learned from him. I didn't know how to spell crypto. And he is very knowledgeable, very deep, very incisive, rational. It was wonderful, being with him. And of course, I want to be a father, so I give him fatherly advice and fatherly tips and stuff like that. And then, of course, I shared that with Rajesh, so I would call my own son Anish, right? And give him the exact same advice, the exact same tips and stuff like that. Of course, both of them did not listen. But it was wonderful, And so I was going to share with you something that last week, of course, we're going through a tremendous grief and all that. Suddenly, Georgette throws this at me. She goes, Manu, in your culture, what happens after death? And of course, everybody knows that I know everything. So, consider the river. When the river is about to go into the ocean, it trembles. It trembles with fear, total fear. Because now the river has existed from way back when it has thought about, it has had a wonderful experience. It started off as a little trickle, then went into a little stream, and then became a little rivulet, and then a raging brook, and then a young, virulent, and really exciting young river, and having exciting adventures like waterfalls and stuff like that, and then it goes on, and now it becomes bigger, and it has its own tributaries, and it's getting vast, and people have, had their fun joyrides on the river. It has destroyed some people because when it flooded, it destroyed people and crops, and it also gave water to a lot of people, right? So here the river is trembling now, and then somehow that insight comes to the river, saying that, look, when I was a tiny little driplet of a stream, I was water. I became a little, bigger stream, and I was water. Then I became a young river with waterfalls and all that. I was still water. And then now I have my own tributaries. My tributaries, are also water. And so here I'm not going to exist anymore, and this is it. And then at the very last second, millisecond, it merges into the ocean, and suddenly is quote unquote enlightened, saying, oh my gosh, I'm merging into the ocean, which is also water. So I have been water all along, and when the rain, even the rains that dropped from the clouds that came from the ocean. So here I was trembling, but I have now become from a puny river to an unimaginably huge, powerful ocean, which is also water. So I've always been water. You see, so the realization that we have always been the oneness that is always there, and It has always existed. It will always exist, and the cycle goes on and on. This is how our cycle is, you know. And interestingly enough, you know, these you never imagine that we'd be talking quantum physics. But the quantum physicists, they actually had upgraded Einstein's classical science and all that. But they had these guys like Schrödinger, Heisenberg, Niels Bohr, and they basically upgraded the classical science. And Schrödinger in particular, you should Google Schrödinger's cat. Schrödinger's cat, you know. It's very interesting. So what they said was that we are essentially vibration. We are waves, you know, and the waves are what reality is. But classical science always thought that science is objective, what we observe and all that, but they never involved the self that's participating in the experiment of observing and analyzing, right? So the first time the quantum physicists actually included the self-observer, the observer, into the stream of knowledge. And so in there they said, well, we are all waves, you know, particularly when you watch, examine the subatomic particles, it becomes very apparent. They're all waves, and only when there is an observer, then it becomes it materializes into a particle, they call it the particle. So that's what happens. So all this what we are observing is an approximation, because one viewer and another viewer will never be the same, right? So each one of us is observing reality, an approximation of reality, because we are observing material things, and they are the approximation of reality, and each of us is having a slightly different perspective, right? And sometimes that slightly adds up. And so to me, for instance, the world might appear to be joyous, bright, wonderful, beautiful, and to someone else it could be dark, foreboding, dangerous. So this difference of opinion is not right or wrong, because reality is both, you see. So that's the thing. So what we have to accept is that the real nature of something not absolutely visible to us, and we are observing nature, and we are getting along with that way. So put it that way. Anyway, so when there is approximation of actual reality out there, which is vibration, then all we can hope is like the river. It was disillusioned, right? So all we can do is pray that we go from disillusion, from untruth to truth, you know, and we go from darkness to light. That means this, you know, the illusions, the disillusions that we have, and that we hope that our understanding of our limited selves is one day enlightened into the understanding that we are all one. So, so basically, it says that you pray that you realize that we have always existed and we are always immortal in that sense. Just like the river realized that I was water and I was a tricklet, even before that, when there were clouds and the rain and the snow and all that stuff, it's all water, it's all water. So it's all one God, one thing. That's why Jesus, most exalted person that is, he said, my Father and I are one. And you know, Pontius Pilate, when he says, oh, are you the king? Are you the king? And he says, the kingdom that I speak of is not of this world. In other words, here, Mr. Pontius Pilate, you are talking about your raging power and the raging flow and the damage you can do and the power that you hold. And I'm saying, and you're saying, am I like you? I'm saying, no. I'm not even talking to at that level. It's not of this world. I am saying I am water in that river example. And so are you, by the way. We are water. But you are infused with that sense of power of a raging river. So, yes, I am king, but I'm speaking of the kingdom, not of this world. So, that's my too many words.